the best teacher because it sharpens. And if I had not been sharpened with all the jackasses and all the
Mhm.
crack ass, all the it asses.
Before you
If
got to
I
the
had
ass. Got rid of
the poor
the
ass, the
crazy
jackass,
ass.
the
Yeah.
crazy. Come on now. If I hadn't had those experiences when a real man came and a real king came, I would have missed it. Because I would have
Mm.
still been trying to filter through, is this God? Should I do this? I would have been still filtering through trying to figure it out. But when I talked and my baby, I said, okay, this is it. This is the person that
Yeah.
God is sending, and everything just is worked itself out. It has.
Yeah.
So
Wow. And you
yeah.
look so happy. I'm gonna show you a picture again. You look so happy. I was watching your when I was looking at your wedding, I was like, oh my gosh, look at Audrey. Like just to see that people were following you around. And I was just like, oh my gosh, she looks so beautiful. Just it was just really just beautiful, just watching the transformation, and you just look so content, and I noticed that there is it looks like a week celebration. You guys had like a week celebration. Talk to me about
Yes.
the culture in marriage in terms of celebration wise, because I noticed that you guys had like a lot of different things going on in different weeks. I know you
Yes.
said you had the registry. That was the first thing you did, and I saw that you had
Hmm.
posted. You had a lot of several different things going on. And I was like, wow, it's almost like, they have I guess in their culture, maybe it's a week celebration. I thought it was awesome because I actually have a friend of mine um,
Hmm.
who I went to an African wedding, and it was the most beautiful thing that I had ever seen. Like when I went to the African wedding, they had, I mean, just the decoration was exquisite, right? And
Hmm.
then the
Hmm.
food was amazing. And I
Yeah.
thought, and it was funny because everybody was walking around with her mother was renewing her vow. Mother and father were renewing their vows. And I remember like I was like looking at how everybody was dressed up, looking like a king and queen. And here I am feeling like, dang, I feel underdressed, even though I felt like I was overdressed. But when I got there, I was like, dang, I feel underdressed. And the structure, even down to the three different ceremonies that they had. And I was just like, wow. I mean, it was so much so that lady literally kicked us out of the facility. She was like, okay, that's it. It was so funny. That lady was like, okay, that's it. We were like getting into the cutting. We were in the third part of cutting the cake. And the lady was like, okay, that's it. That's it. That's it. I don't even care. Just take your deposit. They was like, we don't even, we just got to go because they had been there so long. But I was, and them sitting, the children, I thought what was a real blessing is seeing the children honor. All the children came
Yes.
together and they bought their parents a Rolls Royce.
Wow.
And her mom's so humble. Oh my gosh, so humble. And they were just, and I was listening to how her dad was just talking about how much he honored her, and how
Yeah.
much, and talking about how they met, and how
Hmm.
she became his wife, and just I was watching how she just seemed so at peace and
Hmm.
so at rest because she was in the will of God. And even, girl, I was eating the food and I seen them throwing money, all the kids throwing money at the couple. I was like, what the what? That was that was definitely new to me. I looked at the lady next to me. I said, excuse me. I said, I'm just a little curious. I said, but is that normal? Like, that look like a lot of money they throwing in front of their parents. Like, they was just like, and I realized, wow, this is what king and queendom really, not just
Looks
saying it,
like.
but this is what it looks
Yeah.
like.
Yes.
The honor that goes around or surrounds
Hmm.
marriage, because it represents covenant. It's a true
Yes.
representation of God's relationship with us. And I
Hmm.
thought it was very inspiring. I remember thinking like, dang, this like really opened up my level, my thinking. Like, this is how you are. You are a queen. When you are a woman of God and you are preparing
Hmm.
yourself for whether it's marriage or ministry, or whether you're preparing for anything, when you see yourself the way God sees you, then people will treat you as such.
Right. Right.
You command the respect that you have based on how you treat yourself. And I like when you said that. He said you expected somebody else to treat you better than you treat yourself. I remember somebody told me, why you got to look like that just to go here, just to do that? It's because it's me.
That's
Because
right.
when I am the best at who I am emotionally, spiritually, physically, when I am my best, I attract
Right.
a
That's
different,
right.
a different type. My
That's
vibration
right.
and my energy attracts a different type of people. And when you know who you are, you know what you're not going to settle for.
Right.
And
That's right.
so I think it's really good that in that preparation moment, when you think about what Esther was preparing herself for her husband, how she didn't prepare herself the way the other women did,
Right.
she
Right.
prepared, she had a divine connection. She had in the natural, she had, Naomi telling her, girl, go wash your face. Go wash your face.
Right.
Go
Exactly.
go clean your face and go do this. And so sometimes I think that's missing in how in the preparation process is that,
Yeah.
sometimes there are some things that we need to do. Take care of yourself.
Right.
Men are spiritual, but they are also physical. They like to see. And it doesn't mean that you have to wear all this stuff. It means that you're
Right.
presenting yourself at your best.
Exactly. And they want to see you. It's just, you have to understand what your mate wants.
Right.
What do they
Right.
want to look at? Like my husband does not like makeup.
Yeah.
He
A
don't
lot
like
of men
makeup.
don't. A lot of men
Yeah.
don't. A lot of men don't.
Well, he really, really, even at the wedding, he said, I don't even want you to wear makeup at the wedding. I said, well, that's not going to happen. I'm just not going to wear makeup on my wedding day, but he said, okay, we went through a little thing about that. But when
Yeah.
I first arrived, my husband said, use this cream on your face. Like he had he was like ready to
Wow.
put me into what he was, what he wanted to see. And so he had me start using this cream. I wish I had it. I would show it on the camera because I'm about to become an advocate for this cream.
Wow. Wow.
It's called Pawpaw. And
Uh-huh.
at first I was hesitant because the only thing I had been putting on my face was black soap and shea butter.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was hesitant at first. And then I read the ingredients and I said, well, there's nothing in this. It's mostly natural. I'll go ahead
Yeah.
and start using it. So I started using it on my face. But what it was is it's a clarifier. And so what it did was it started clearing my face up and my neck to blend all of my skin together as one so that my face would look more radiant. He said, your face is going to be so beautiful.
Oh.
I just had to trust the process. Like it was so many things. I just had to
Wow.
trust the process. And I start using the
Wow.
cream. And you can see in this picture you have up how clear my face looks. It's
Yes,
because
it does. It does.
yeah, because he gave me this cream and he said, use this on your face, use it on your body, And I was like hesitant at first. And then when I started using it, I start seeing my face started becoming very clear. And everybody was going on about, oh my God, your face is looking so beautiful. And,
Oh.
even the people there were like, you looking more beautiful than when you came, So
Oh.
it appears that it has light in my face, but all it did was took my face and blended it to my neck. That's all it did. So people were like, you done lost your color, So everybody's got their thing about my face,
Oh.
what it looks like, but it's clear. That's what he wants to see. I'm sharing all that to say.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to see. He wants to see my face looking
In your
clear and beautiful.
authentic version. Yeah.
Yes, he said he does not like the makeup, and honestly, I'm not a makeup person, so it doesn't
Yeah.
bother me not to wear it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to kind of do what your mate, make your mate happy. If it's a reasonable, that was a reasonable request. Put the cream on your face. That was reasonable.
Yeah.
So here I am, 2 or 3 months later, and my face is looking great.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
yes, and I enjoy being a wife. I do. I feel like God has prepared me. I have 4 sons now because my husband have 4 sons, and
Okay.
I have a grandbaby, and I call him Mimu. That's my nickname for him, Mimu.
Mimu. Oh.
And he's so precious. His name is Joram, and it means the Lord Jehovah is exalted. And so God has really truly restored the years The years of my life have really been restored in less than, in less than a year's time. God has restored all the years that I waited, because
Wow.
technically I have been waiting since I lost my son, technically.
Yes.
So, because I don't even really count the other marriage. It happened, but it don't count to me. But for the most part, I waited over 20 years for the husband that God ordained. Now, when
Wow.
we get out there, and like I said, God let me do the last thing, but he was not in that. It was not his
Mm,
will. But when
mm,
we wait for what God has, it's a time of preparation, because if I had jumped
mm,
into this 20 something years ago, I would not
mm,
have been ready on this level 20 some years
mm.
ago. And I might have
Wow.
I would have jacked it up. I ain't gonna say might have. I would have jacked it up because I was immature and I just
Mhm.
wasn't ready,
Wow.
for what God was doing. And God is still maturing me, even in the
Of course.
position,
Of course.
because
Yeah.
you got to get accustomed to the new shoes that you wear.
Yes.
So, I'm still maturing even in it now, but for the most part, I know that I'm in the divine will of God for my life. I have no question. I have peace. I don't go to bed at night in turmoil with God or up all night because I can't sleep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
rest. I rest and I am where He said I should be. So.
Wow. How is it like preparing? Because I know you being in a different culture where you're preparing the food for your husband. Do you find it difficult in terms of preparing? Are you still, I'm sure you're still learning how to prepare meals for your husband. What has that been like? What has that experience been like?
I really have not been cooking.
That's
Honestly,
good.
I haven't learned anything yet. He's an awesome cook. He loves to cook.
Nice.
So
Nice.
he's been cooking for me. So I haven't started learning some of the meals.
Oh,
Not yet. Let's say it that way. Not yet.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow. So where you living at in Nigeria? Is it more like, what is the housing situation like compared to where you lived here in the United States?
We are in Iket. Iket is the name of the city. And
Mhm.
the name of the state. So Nigeria is divided into states just like the United States.
Okay.
And so the name of the state that we are in is Akwa Ibom or Akwa Ibom. That's how we pronounce it, Akwa Ibom.
Mhm.
And the city is Iket. And so the housing is similar to the US, but different.
Mhm.
You don't see carpet like you do in the US. Everything
Mhm.
is mostly tiled floors. But the
Got you.
tile is just absolutely beautiful. I
Wow.
walk on the floors and the tile is amazing. Some
Wow.
things are different, like the bathrooms are different, the showers are not as common.
Got
So it's different with that. The hot water is a little challenging as well because it's not like you have one main hot water tank and it
you.
flows
Mhm.
throughout the whole house.
Mhm.
So you may have to have a hot water tank if you have multiple bathrooms in each bathroom. That
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So there's not hot water running through every room. You have to kind of have it in wherever the plumbing
Mm.
is at.
Wow.
So that's different. But for the most part, you have somebody who keeps your gate. You have a gatekeeper. You could have a house person. I have an
Nice.
assistant. Yeah, I have an assistant right now who's been working with me with things for the church. And then my daughter-in-law, she's like a personal assistant. So I have people that assist me, with getting things done.
It's funny because when we think about what the Proverbs 31 woman was, right? It's funny.
Yes.
She had handmaids, when
Yes.
she had, so it's not, it just because you can do it all doesn't make you feel like, look, I'm like all about, I'm trying to make life easier. So it's like,
Right.
it is not cool to say, oh, I could do it all. We're in the society now as women, because
Hmm.
we have the ability to do it all. We want to
Right.
show how strong we are. So we
Right.
try to do it all. Honey, I'm way past those days,
Mhm.
honey. If I
You and me both.
let me tell you, I was in Lowe's the other day, and I was picking up some stuff, and the bag was like really, really heavy. And somebody walked up to me and she's like, you want me to get that for you? I was like, yeah. Yeah. I want you to get that for me. Yes. Yeah, because I'm not trying to get used to being able to carry
Right.
not a thing.
Exactly.
I told my mom this. I done put my cape down. I done put the superhero cape down. So I ain't trying to, when I am in the presence of somebody that yes, I have learned how to say yes very easy. Yes. Do you need help? Yes. You want me to take the car? Yes. You know. Yes, I do. Do you want me? It's like, because we don't realize that, you know, the time that we living in, we can do it all, but I don't want to do it all. You
right.
know,
and you're really wearing yourself out by doing it all. Like, you're cutting your time in half.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do it all. No, you want? Yes. I can't do it. I can't do it. My hands hurt. My feet, my fingers hurt. I want to, even when God allows that time for me to get married again, I'm telling you, I'm like, Lord, you know what I want. I have always dated. I've always dated masculine men. And I'm like, yeah, Lord, I want masculinity all the way. Open the doors for my girls, you know. Yeah, I need help lifting that. I'm not trying to do it all. Yep, I can't do it. I can't. I'm just walking around. I can't. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't know. When I'm around you, I can't.
I got the same way. I'm the same way now. Like there was a time I was literally sitting there doing everything in my business. I done got to the point, God has blessed me with, like, my son and my stepson. Well, he's my son. I don't call him my stepson. But my son is into tech.
Your bonus son.
My bonus son. So he's into tech, and so he knows how to do all the background things, and you know, I'm letting him do what he does. I retired the cape too, like the Superwoman cape is that.
There's a season. Look, I had a season for that time in my life. Now I'm like, now I'm not trying to do it all. I'm not trying to be, and I know, and God knows my desires, and he knows the type of woman that I am, and he will give you your heart's desire.
That's right.
But I think the key thing in our conversation is really, and the stigma behind international dating is really can apply. Of course, you may have to lay extra rules in when you're dealing with international dating because of trafficking and all those things. And those things are legitimate. But the main thing we should be concerned about is just being connected. What is we are purpose. We still are we're purpose. You want purpose partner. You know, somebody that can partner, you can partner with to make sure that you fulfill the call of God on your life and on their life. And I think when you look at it like that, whether they're from Ghana, Nigeria, America, when you look at it from that aspect, some people might disagree. Some people might say, no, there's no way in the world I'm gonna marry somebody that quickly. I've done both. And I've married. My first marriage, it took me forever. I had to hit him over the top of the head almost to get him to marry. 2 kids, bro. Like, what is it gonna take? Like 2 kids, 2 years? Like, what are we waiting for? Like, you know, when do you waiting for now you want to wait to hear God. Well, you wasn't waiting to hear God when we was popping out those babies. Now you want to wait. What?
Right.
You know, and then being married the second time, what was scary is how quickly, you know, and some people might disagree. It don't take, you got to get to know people, but you're always going to be getting to know people. You can know people for 5-6 years and they can still switch up on you a year later. Really, to me, when I look at marriage in terms of dating, connecting your lives with somebody, is you just really making a choice to take the journey. You're making a choice. And whether that choice takes you 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you just at some point, you're just making a choice that, you know what, I don't want to live my life without you in this capacity. It is not a matter of knowing them. Because if you do it based on knowing them, you're going to be waiting for years. You ain't going to know, because we're still learning ourselves. Let alone waiting for somebody else to know you. You're still learning yourselves. So I think when you start looking, when you change your aspect and you start looking for a purpose partner. When I married my second husband, we knew that, though there was an attraction and though it was like, okay, we see what I looked at my life, he looked at his life, we saw the direction, and it was like, he knew, it was like, I need you in my life. I need you. And I think that's the difference when you are connecting with a purpose partner and they see how your lives connect, then
Right.
it becomes easy. It's not a matter of, because I've seen guys, Pastor Williams always, Bishop Williams always told us that, Lewis Williams, it don't take a man to know all these years to know,
Right.
men
That's right.
know, they
That's right.
know, especially if
Mhm.
their desire is to marry. It don't
That's
take
right.
them it don't take them that long to figure out. If they
Yeah.
hanging around for years and years and years, it's because you're either a placeholder or
Right.
they're just not really into you. And so I think
Right.
the sooner we understand how that works. Now, some people, they might not really know what their call is. So it may take them a little bit longer because if
Mhm.
they haven't really operated in their purpose, it may take them a little bit
Right.
time because they ain't even
Right.
got their life together with God yet. So they don't really
Mhm.
know what God called them to do. So it may take them a little longer to figure out where you are. They don't even know what God wants them to do.
Right.
But when you
Right.
are, I remember Steve Harvey was saying this: when a man has his finances in order, when he has his purpose in order, it doesn't take him long to figure. When you know who you are, you know who belongs on that
Mhm.
path with you. Point blank.
That's right.
It's really
That's
that
right.
simple. Would you
Hmm.
agree?
Right.
Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree because, I told you when my husband met me, he knew from the time he met me, you are the one that God is sending to me. So he knew, and he had other opportunities that he was going to marry someone else, but the Lord stepped in and said, "This is not your wife. I'm sending your wife from afar." And so
Mm,
when I came, it was like, this is the person. But it goes back to what you said about understanding your purpose, understanding
mhm,
who you are. And he understood who he
mhm,
was, and he understood the type of woman that
mm,
had to connect into what he was doing. Because at the end
mhm.
of the day, everything I
Right,
do is great. Everything I do is great. But if
right,
what I do did not fit into who he was, it's a disaster. And
right.
so
Oh, that's so key.
he said that, he distinctly heard the Lord say to him, the woman that comes in here, she has to be a mother to this church. That's what they call me. They call me mama. They immediately brought me in as mother. I was not brought in as, potential or this or that. I was brought in as mother because he understood what he had set up and where God was taking him. And
Mm,
so that woman had to be on a certain integrity level. Character, that's one thing my husband kept on saying. She had to be a woman of character. And the women I dealt with, I look at their character. I look at their
mm,
character.
mm,
So even though when we met, it was quick, it was a level of discernment that he had that,
mm.
and he did his homework on me as well. He did when he did his research.
That's good that you
But at,
mentioned it. Yeah.
yeah, but at the end of the day, it was his discernment that said, this is the woman. So when he brought me in, he didn't have to, no worries. He didn't have to train me how to dress. He
Mm,
didn't have to train me how to behave or how to treat people because he had enough discernment to know I had experience enough to come in and to fit that role. Now I still had to adjust to it, but at the end of the day, there's certain things that he's only teaching me cultural wise,
right.
or because I'm not in that position, he'll say culturally, this is what we do. You have to,
Mm,
when somebody comes to visit you, you send them away with money. Like these are
mhm.
the things they do culturally that he teaches me. If we're sitting in
Wow.
the service and they're acknowledging us, he'll say, wave your hand. I'll be like, okay, so there are things that he's teaching me because I'm not in that position. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he understood the type of woman that he had to have because he had been growing his ministry for 6+ years. So
Mm,
he couldn't just bring any kind of woman in there who
yeah.
did not have the capability to take the people to the next level. Like he was ready to turn the whole church over to me. I'm like, no, we ain't ready for that yet. you know, I had to become, people had to get to know me and become acclimated and all that kind of stuff. But he trusted me enough to do that. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, he knew, and that was it. It was final. And the people attested. He been prophesying about you for years. Everybody is
Wow.
saying he's been prophesying. You are the direct result of prophecy.
Mm,
That's what they
mm.
tell me. So a man does know.
Wow. I believe too. I believe that too. And I believe when you do connect and you do enter into a covenant, you even become a more evolved person. So
Right.
how has this new husband, new marriage, new culture, how has that changed the Audria from the person that you used to be? How has that changed you? Because I know now, I can see your you look like you're at peace. Your aura, everything about you is different. How has marriage changed you to be this woman that you are now compared to where you were before?
I really had to come out of my shell. Like I had gotten into a shell because I got accustomed to sitting behind the computer all day.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go from that to, okay, you can't just throw on a nice top and whatever bottoms because all you doing is sitting by. You got to get fully dressed. You got to get up every day. You got to get fully dressed because people come, they visit. So I had to be ready to
Wow.
greet
Really?
people. Yes, you got to be ready to greet people at a moment's notice. So I
Wow.
had to literally come out of the shell I had gotten in because it was just me. I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. So that was the most major adjustment. The other adjustment is just kind of getting to know other people's personalities and getting to know me. Like this is our arrangement now. And nobody has not accepted me. Like everybody's like welcome me with open arms. So I'm
Nice.
not rejected at all. So that was an adjustment, because I get around people who don't welcome who I am.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest because I carry a lot. I'm very, I come off very strong. And so a lot of people have not accepted me on this level. So that was an adjustment. I had to pinch some days I had to pinch myself and say, this is really real. This is really real. Like I'm really this person now. Like I'm really married. Like I had
Yeah.
to really because when you've been and I was barren, just being honest, I was barren for so long.
Yeah.
Another adjustment I had to make was I still desire children. Me and my husband had that conversation when we first got together. And he said, whatever, if you want children, I'm fine with that. And sometimes men say that, just they think that's what you want to hear. But he
Yeah.
really meant it. And then one day
Wow.
I looked up, he was praying over my womb. I'm like, what is he doing?
Wow.
What is
That's
he
amazing.
doing? And so that's an
Wow.
adjustment, to be in a place where you are just wholly and completely accepted. You're not being told, well, change this because got too much of that. And, I'm not treated like I'm some kind of outcast.
Yeah.
Everything about me is accepted. I'm getting adjusted to a man that praises me because a lot of men that I have dealt with, they have been intimidated by me, just being honest. So they'll praise me to a point,
Mm,
but then they want to get in the spotlight and shine for themselves. And that's not
mm.
how my husband operates. Like he'll get up and,
Wow.
oh, she done wrote, if I could count how many times he done said I wrote 16 books. Well, she been here, she done wrote 4 books since she been here. Like he
Oh,
always is bragging on me, and
that's
always, and I'm not,
cherishing. Cherishing.
yes, yes. And just the first day when I got there, the welcome. I promise you, Nadira, I have never smiled so much in my whole entire
Oh.
life. From the day that I got there, like when I walked in, they were lined up and they were singing, and one of the ladies came and grabbed my hand and they ushered me in, and they had
Wow.
the band going, and they just
Wow.
they just
Wow.
ushered me in and was singing to me, and I was just blown away. Like, and
Wow.
I was just smiling. Like I had never smiled so much in my whole life. Like, so those are things that just being appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was in a space where I just was not appreciated, and to
Mhm.
go from nothing to, and I'm not saying that people didn't, but it was not on that level,
Mm.
to just be appreciated. So
Yeah.
those are the adjustments. And then another adjustment has really been what my expectation of marriage was. Like I had this expectation, oh, when I get married, I'm gonna cook every day for my husband. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take care of my home and all that. But I'm learning that I need help. Like you said, I can't do all these things on my own. And it's okay, Audra, that
Yeah.
you're not doing all this stuff. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been an adjustment. But for the most part, I feel like I'm evolving well. I know I have areas to grow because we always do.
Always do.
But for the most part, I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying it. And just to see, that God does reward
Mm-hmm.
your faithfulness. Somebody
Yeah.
listening, you need to know that
Yeah.
it, no matter how long it takes,
Yeah.
God will reward if
Mm,
you stay consistent and you stay diligent. And no matter what it feels like, no matter what it looks
right.
like, you get up every day and you just get up every day and survive. If you don't do nothing else, just get up and just be grateful you're alive. Even if the day produces nothing, you being alive is enough that the day produced.
Mm,
So, you just gotta just stay consistent. Like I waited a long time for this season of my life, but because where God was taking me, I had to endure the preparation, the loneliness, being misunderstood,
right.
traveling from place to place, moving from place to place, living in all those different states. That was God preparing me for where I was going.
Preparing
And
you
I
to
was
to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes, and,
Mm,
and to
yeah.
stay in a consistent place of movement. And my family would be like, "You moving again? Will you please sit still?" Like I was ridiculed. People don't know all that was going on in the background. Like I was ridiculed because I was constantly moving around. But I knew that's what God was telling me to do because there was something for me to do everywhere that He sent me. And so,
Mm,
all those things were preparation because me and my husband are going to continue to travel. We're going to be back and forth between there and the States, so it's just a lot. It's a lot.
mm. So
But at the
are you
end,
still a full-time entrepreneur? You still, or are you kind of just taking a year off to kind of just celebrate your marriage and spend time getting to know your husband? What is your, as far as work related in ministry? Are you kind of just taking a break, or are you just kind of just sliding into a new position and going at it full speed?
I wish I could take a break. And this is what I'm saying about what we be fantasizing about versus our reality. It was a fantasy that I would take a year off, get adjusted, have children, and but the reality is that I'm still running a business, even from Nigeria.
Yeah,
The beautiful thing about the way I built my business is I always built it so it could go wherever I went.
that's
And,
good.
and I always had that in mind when I was building it. When you and I connected in 2020 and you was getting your thing off the ground, I was getting my business off the ground.
Hmm.
I purposely built it because I knew one day I would be out the country and I would need this income to
Yeah,
survive.
right,
So
right.
I wish that I had taken off, but my business never stops. I'm always getting referrals.
Nice.
The authors I publish, they republish with me. So business never stops. The beauty of where I am now is that I can now train people to do what I'm doing
Nice.
so that I can shift gears because now it's time for me to plant my institute in a physical location because a lot of people don't really realize I have an online biblical institute and that has been in existence since 2014. But now I have the team in place to take that to the next level. So
Nice.
soon I'll be planning an actual location in Nigeria. And then we have a satellite that's arising in the States. So
Nice.
the institute is taking off. So I'm really ready to shift gears so that I can focus on writing more courses for the institute and
Mm,
getting the facility off the ground. The people are biting at the bits here for that.
mm.
Like in Nigeria, like everybody's biting at the bits. And the beauty of being American is when you bring what you bring to the table, it's fresh and it's new, and
Mhm.
people want to come back to the States.
Right.
So they become a part of it because it gives them, the ability to transition back and forth. So it's
Gotcha.
it's it's no, I'm still a full-time entrepreneur.
Got you.
Still.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So
Still
before
writing books. Still writing books. There'll be a book about me and my husband's union coming soon as well.
nice.
Yes, it's called Made in Nigeria. and it'll actually
Ooh.
be 2 volumes. So we're going to tell our story. And he said that from day one. You going to write a book about us? I said, yes, I will.
Wow.
And so the Lord finally gave me the inspiration with the
Yeah.
title, and I already have the cover picked out. So I don't have dates on it, but at some point we will release our story at some point.
It's so encouraging to watch you with your writing because I have 2 books that I'm currently working on outside of my What Happened to Me, How Did I Get Here book. I have,
Hmm.
my 2 books that I'm writing simultaneously. The second book I'm writing after, well, I told you about the one, The Measure of a Man. Then the other book I'm writing is Don't Die in a Storm. And
Mm.
so, so those books that I'm writing simultaneously is like, wow, it's like when I listen to people like you and Lenine and different people that are writing their books, I'm like, gosh, these guys are writing books faster than I can blink an eye. Like, wow. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I literally had to step up my game because what it's really doing is motivating me to make sure that I make the most of the years that I have here on earth, and that I'm making sure
Yes.
that I'm fulfilling the call of God on my life, and that I'm not allowing too many distractions to
Hmm.
come in, because you can have good distractions and bad distractions. And
Right,
so
right.
I've been making it a habit to be intentional with how I start my day, because I do realize that how you start your day is gonna reflect how you end the day. And so I'm realizing
Right.
that I'm in the flow. I feel like I'm in a flow of grace right now, where God is allowing things. My creativity is heightened. And I'm doing things that I haven't even went to school to even know. I'm
Hmm.
doing things
Hmm.
that God, I know there's an anointing for me to do what I'm doing in this season. And so I'm now like, okay, I'm going to flow in this time frame, because I don't know how long this time frame is going to be. And that's how
Right.
we got to be, is we got to get to the point to where we're just fulfilling. We're obligated. I mean, God, when God
Right.
has given you grace in so many areas of your life, and he's allowed
Hmm.
you to live when you should have been dead, he's allowed
Right.
you to escape some things. We have an obligation,
That's right.
share. And this is why I do this broadcast. This is why I do the broadcast. And it's funny because when I think about when I first started in this zone of testimonial things, with the magazine and stuff like that, I just realized it was just a preparation.
Yes.
Sometimes we're not really sure, where the clarity doesn't come right away. It's like kind of foggy. You just know God called you to
Right.
something, and you just
Mm.
kind of just crawl
Just
towards it.
start doing stuff.
You just start doing stuff, and I look at
Yeah.
things, I'm like, yeah, I see where he had revealed, but it was just, I had to go through different process seasons, mindsets, and stuff like that. Could I have done it quicker or better, or probably not the way I'm doing it now? Because I think where I am is this is the season that I'm in, because I had COVID not came,
Right.
I probably still wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for
Right.
COVID. I probably still doing it. So I think that, like I mentioned with the fig trees, that this is the season, and this is the season for me to really just kind of get out everything that God has placed on the inside of me, and fine tune things,
Hmm.
and just really just do what he called me to do now, prayerfully. I'm praying that he gives me a purpose partner along the way to be able to get
He
along. And
will.
Lord, I'll be happily excited for that. I just, you know, can't wait for those moments for me again, because I just love marriage. I've been married twice, and
Yes.
and I can actually say I fulfilled a covenant. I love to say that, because
Yes.
it's funny, because I was feeling bad. I was like, dang, when you think about, man, I've been married twice, and you start thinking about, the enemy start playing with your mind about. Then I said to myself, and
Hmm.
God reminded, you fulfilled a
Right.
covenant, you know,
Right. Perspective. Perspective.
perspective. And I said, so now,
Hmm.
I don't refer to myself as just a widow. I say I fulfilled my covenant. And
Hmm.
so,
Hmm.
and so I'm grateful for that opportunity, for the time frame for that. But I'm definitely open to God allowing me to be able to have a purpose partner and rejoin again in marriage again, and enjoy all the benefits and of being married, and partnership and things like that. And so yeah, so I'm really excited for you. I'm excited to
Thank you.
see, watching you. I'm just really just hold on, let me see. Somebody's actually calling me. See, I tell you, when I put on the thing, somebody's gonna call. I promise you. But but the reality is, I'm genuinely excited. I'm like googly eyed excited for you, because I know some of your story, and I know what you know
Yes.
through our conversations and our connections, what God has done in your life, and it's just a blessing to see God fulfill His covenant in your life. And hopefully, one day I'll be able to meet Mr. Neighborham Abraham.
Yes,
Hello, I know
absolutely.
you're watching. Hello, Mr. Abraham. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get to visit you guys, or maybe get to connect with you guys here in the States, the Lord
Yes.
willing. And I'm just really excited for you. What would you say in our final and our conclusion before we end the broadcast, what will be your advice to a woman that is currently in waiting and single and waiting for her purpose partner and is thinking about considering international dating? What will be your advice to that woman?
The first thing I would say to a lady in waiting is maximize your time.
Yes.
Maximize it, because once you cross over, there's no turning back. That's the first
Mm,
things first. Maximize your time.
mm.
Um, to someone who is considering, because one of the things that has erupted is everybody's in my inbox. Like, I
You
want
know,
to
open
marry,
up a can of worms now.
yes. So the Lord actually gave me a vision to do a dating show where women and men can meet people across the waters. That's still in the making. No dates on that. But that's something that's to come. So
Mhm.
if I would give advice in regards to that, number one, excuse me, do your research. Look around, ask around. If you see a red flag, do not ignore it.
Definitely,
Absolutely don't ignore it.
definitely.
Understand what the signs are. If you're going to go into a certain region or territory, do your research on that
Mm,
territory.
mm,
Understand the things that go on in that area. Understand the culture, that you're
mm,
connecting to.
mm,
Can you deal with or tolerate the things that other cultures do? Because if you cannot, stay away from it because you'll make yourself very miserable, just
mm,
because you want love, just because you want to be
mm.
married, just because you want to be connected. You
Right.
see somebody else, you look at me and you see me, but you don't know that the Lord disciplined me to live in one room for a year before I even
Mm.
went. Like a lot of
Wow.
people did not know, I had been down. I was in the house I was in at one time, but I downsized to a room so that I could
Mm,
learn to live off of less. So that was a part of my
mm,
preparation. So, are you willing to endure whatever the preparation looks like?
mm,
Are you willing or ready for the ridicule? Can you handle the
mm,
pressure?
mm,
That you may get from family who does not understand.
mm,
Is your skin thick enough? So
mm.
those are some of the things that, I would say. And at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you just gotta know that it's God. You just
Right.
gotta know,
Right.
but you can only filter through that with those experiences, so
Mhm.
if you're gonna go, make sure you have a prayer network, people who are supporting you in prayer. And I'm not talking about your best friend who just wants you to get married, because now they might be praying out of their emotions. You need some people around you who really hear God, that are in tune with what's going on with you, that you trust. And they're not gossiping about, girl, she want to go over there and marry that man she ain't never met. It was only about two people that knew the detail of what I was doing before I went, because there was another situation that was going on prior to the final situation. And so it was only so many people that I had surrounded myself in prayer, and so that's very important, having that support system. Financially, make sure that if you're going to go to another country and say you want to go there and live, make sure you can support yourself financially. Because when you go into these other countries, they want to know you came in there to be a blessing, not to go and now you on their system trying to survive.
Right.
So make sure you have a strong either source of income or enough money built up that you can sustain yourself while you're there. Another thing that people don't know, and this just dropped in my spirit that I want to say, is that people have they think that because you hear about the scams. Let's just talk about the Nigerian scam.
Right.
You
Please do.
know,
Please do.
yeah, the 419. That's what they call it.
Oh,
419.
okay. There's a name to it.
So
Okay.
yeah, there's a name to it. It's called 419. And I did not know this until my husband told me this. A lot of women are scammed financially from
Mm.
men who keep asking you to send them money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so the minute, now I didn't know this, but my husband told me that the minute you start sending a man money over there, the authorities immediately put that person on alert immediately.
Wow.
And what happens is if you keep sending large sums of money, huge, large sums of money, you keep sending them, and then eventually you come over there, they start monitoring, their authorities start monitoring the interaction between you and
Mm.
this person.
Mm.
They're looking at social media. That person's phone might be tapped. They're following it because some women have gone over there and have been kidnapped or have not
Oh,
returned or got over
wow.
there and the situation was not what they thought it was going to be. So these things are very real. So I'm not here to paint you some fantasy like, oh, I
Right.
just went and it was just so beautiful. No, it was that because I trusted God and God was in it. But there
And he
are
showed
some
you signs along the way. So it's not
right,
like it's not like you just said, oh, I think this is God, because sometimes Satan comes as an angel of light. You had
right,
signs, and he was a
right,
personal recommendation. So you
right.
had people that knew him, knew his character.
Exactly.
That's a different
Exactly.
scenario. That's different than you just going and just saying, I met this
Exactly.
person, and
Right. Right.
yeah,
I have
yeah,
people who vouch for him. And if you meet somebody, let's say you do meet somebody on Facebook, if they are who they claim they are, tell them to come where you are first, if they got that much clout. Because the truth of the matter is that it's easier for an American woman to go there than it is for somebody to come here. So
right.
if they're coming here from there, they really got it going on. They done got approval, they done got a visa, they got money to travel. So you got to make all those kind of judgments for yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you cannot go first because he maybe cannot afford to come, but you just need to do all your homework before you go into that region.
Mm.
I am a part of a group. It's called Naija Wife for Life. And so women get in there and they ask questions, and the women will say, don't go over there by yourself. Like this lady wanted to surprise her husband. She was married to him and she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to surprise her husband and just show up. And them ladies said, don't do that because when you
Wow.
go, he needs to be aware that you're coming because they're looking at you and they see that you're there alone. And when they see
Mm.
that you're there alone, you become a target.
Wow.
So you got to know these things when you go into these countries that
That's
they know you're
wow.
American when you come. All you do is open your
Wow.
mouth and start talking. They know that you're American when you get there.
Wow.
I had an incident when I flew in. I wore a camouflage jacket. And here in the States, we wear camouflage stuff all the time. It's not a huge deal. But
Right.
when I arrived in the
Mm.
airport, the security guards pulled me to the side and they said, "We're going to ask you to take this jacket off." They said because they first of
Wow.
all they asked me was I part of a military, and I said no, I'm not in the military because they were asking me, and I thought they were just joking when they were asking me. No, they were
Mhm.
asking me because they said if I had wore that military jacket outside, I would have became a target because it would have looked like I was a part of some kind of regime or
Wow.
some kind of group that could be a threat to somebody there.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I did not, when you go, you don't buck against when they telling you to do something. They telling you for your own good.
For your
So I
safety.
had to
Yeah.
I had to take that jacket off. He said, I was going to confiscate it from you. He said, but I'm not going to confiscate it. He said, just take it off, bury it deep in your bag. And this is a conversation that we never had, just like that. And so I
Mhm.
immediately took it off because, you don't know when you're going in these countries, you don't know,
Mhm.
so do your research, do your homework, understand that when going back to what I was saying, when you start sending money and all that kind of stuff, the authorities immediately put an alert on this person. And
Mm.
he said, what you don't hear in the news is that some people have actually been arrested for these love scams.
Oh,
But
good.
you,
Good.
but you don't hear that though. All
Yeah,
you
you
hear
don't.
is
You
the
don't.
sad song that somebody got scammed and he ran off with the money, but that person got prosecuted on the other side. So
Mm.
people, they actually do, crack down on these love romance schemes because they know they go to these women just funneling money, to the
Mhm.
country.
Yeah.
So, those are the things that be careful, do your homework, do your research. But in the bottom of it all, just hear and know that you heard God. And this is just from a Nigerian's perspective.
Mm.
I don't know about Ghana. I don't know about, I saw somebody recently, one of my uncle's leaders went to Gambia and got married. So,
Mm.
every country has its different rules, but
Mhm.
you just need to understand the territory that you are going into and
Mm.
what you are connecting yourself to. So,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
That's really good. And a lot of that stuff you should be applied to just, 99% of it you really should apply to any dating, because now when you're doing
Yeah.
online dating,
Mhm.
you don't know people at all anyway. Everybody gives you their best representative until, time reveals a lot of things.
Mhm.
Time reveals
Mhm.
a lot of things. You get to see people evolve over a certain time frame, because everybody tell you,
Right.
"Oh, I'm wonderful, I'm great, I'm this, and I do this and I do that."
Mhm.
You get to know them and you realize, oh, okay. So that's
Yeah.
why it's important to kind of just, be able to observe and really have a relationship with God. Because I know with you, your process of getting to know your husband and making that move was a very short period of time. But the key
Right.
component that we keep emphasizing is being able to discern, knowing when it is
Mhm.
God. And if you struggle with discerning and knowing that, then you need to spend time with God in his word so that he can
Right.
show, so you can know his character, so you can know what he's like. So when you interact with people like that, because nowadays the dating world, I mean, it's so much different than it was back in the day. I literally
Mhm.
hate the dating pool nowadays, because it's just like you got people, you would think it's the younger generation that is playing games. It's
Right.
older.
Right.
The
Oh my God.
older generation, they're just as worse and
Yes.
non-committal, as the younger generation. The younger generations
Mhm.
are getting there. It's almost like they flop. The younger generation, they're getting married.
Right.
They're taking chances. The older generation is like, I've been married before. So I
Mhm.
ain't gonna, I only got half. She took half when she left, so I'm trying to keep the half I got. And I ain't
Right.
trying to marry you, because then you're gonna take half of that. I ain't gonna have nothing. So it's
Right.
like they're
Right.
coming from a perspective of what I got left. They're not
Right.
coming
Right.
from, they're not looking for purpose partners. They're looking for
Mhm.
they're looking for P partners, you know,
Right. Right.
those kind of partners. They're not looking for purpose partners. They want P
You're right. You're right. Especially
partners,
on the dating sites. Especially
no,
on the dating sites.
they're not trying to, and you have to really have enough self-respect and know, okay, what are some of the red flags? What are some of these
Right.
flags? You have to be able to identify what, and I think what I'll do is I'll probably do, like in the wisdom clinic, probably do a thing on identifying red flags in dating, because
Yes.
there
And
are
I have a
so many.
book on red flags.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Yes.
What's the name of your book?
It's called Red Flags.
Okay,
Five signs that he is not the one.
hold on. Let me put that up here, because honey, I might get that book today.
It's only on Kindle right now, but eventually I'll get it in paperback. But it's called Red Flags, and it's a cover with a lady holding a red flag,
5 signs that he's
and
not the one.
five signs that he is not the one.
And what? Ooh, girl, what is the where can they get the book at? You said on Amazon Kindle.
Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon Kindle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds like good. Oh my god, I'm telling you, I've never seen so many, like, it's scary, because
Yeah.
people, you just look at how you would think, oh man, people are, that have been married before, they understand this process. It's going to be a lot easier, but oh gosh,
Mhm.
it'll be 7 years in March for me. And it's
Wow.
like, I'm like, God, what is this, like 7 years? I feel like every 7 years, for me, it's
Hmm.
like, but it just seems like the dating society is different. People are,
Yeah.
they're not seeing relationships the way that we view relationships before.
Right.
So now, and some of them for legitimate reasons, they've gone through different things, and everybody is seeing through their trauma and their experience. So they're building relationships, based on the traumas that they have. And then
Right.
like, what in the world? So that's why I say I'm so glad.
Mhm.
That's why I'm so glad that God didn't answer all the prayers that I've asked in
Yes.
my past. Because
Yes.
there's some people I cry, Lord, I just want this, Lord. And then I look back, I'm like, oh, Jesus, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank them, because you look at where you are now, how much you evolved, and you're
Right.
like, man, they probably would have hindered my growth, or they
Mm-hmm.
probably would have hindered or redirected my path into where I was.
Right.
So sometimes what I'm learning now in this season, it's like, okay, God, I know that as I continue to evolve, I'm going to become a different person every time I evolve. I'm going to
Right.
almost like a caterpillar going into a butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that
Mm-hmm.
when I get to a place, because I'm always going to be involved, I'm not going to stop evolving, but I know that when
Right.
I get to a place that where God says, okay, it's time, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be the same person that I am now. And so I know that
Right.
whoever that is going to have to be somebody who's coming up alongside of me, where God
Mm-hmm.
is dealing with them too. And so, but I'm just, again, just so happy for you. I'm just so grateful that you accepted
Thank
my
you.
invitation to come back on. You're always welcome. We have such an amazing time every time you
Yes.
come. And I am just looking forward to all the wonderful things that God is going to continue to do in your life. And
Amen.
so hopefully hopefully, are you going to still continue your show that you were doing before with the writers? The IBG, what was it, on Wednesdays? Are you still going to
The
continue
working
that? Working
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays? Are you still going to keep
Mm,
doing that? Is that something that
it's still up in the air. I
okay.
have not decided to go back to it yet.
Okay.
Only because I'm really trying to shoot bigger,
Okay.
and my vision is to have TV. So I actually want my own TV station, IBG
Nice.
TV.
Nice.
So it's a part of the whole scope of TV, period. Because at some point, Scribby will be animated. And so I
Nice.
want to have a family TV station. So it's not just,
Nice.
yeah, so it's a part of the vision. So now that I have a team, I won't be doing everything on my own by myself. So
Nice.
it's a part of the big vision.
Yes.
But in the moments of right now, because of all my responsibilities with the church and doing the institute, it's just
Mhm.
not something of priority at the present time.
Right. You're in a redefining moment, and that's definitely understandable. You're in a different place
Uh-oh.
where you're
Okay,
redefining
you
where
have
you.
froze up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Uh-oh. Well, while we're waiting for her to return, I think she had froze up on her end. But while we're waiting for her to return, I just want to take the time to thank each and every.
You're kind of going in and out. I don't know if that's my connection.
Yeah, it seems like you look a little like you're going out, like you're going in and out. But can you hear me? It could be on your.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and end the
Yeah,
broadcast.
I
Thank
can
you
hear
so
you.
much. You can hear me now? Good,
Oh,
good.
there we go. Yes, yes.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Audria, for just, it's always good to see you. Always good to see what God is doing in your life. I look for, make sure you guys visit her. Make sure you go to her website, AudriaVHer.com. Make sure you also visit Scribby.fun. I can't wait till she does,
Yes.
because Bella and McKinley, honey, they love these. I'm telling you, it's not enough people doing these dolls and these stories. These little girls, honey. I'm telling you, because
Wow.
they really enjoy these books.
Good.
IBGpublications.com. Make sure you visit her. And ladies, also make sure you go get the Red Flags book, 5 Signs That He Is Not the One, on
This is what it looks like.
Amazon. Amazon Kindle, and she is showing, yes, that is a mute, because I'm telling you, because the dating world is something out here. Also, I
Yes.
wanted to make sure I wanted to make sure you guys also make sure you go to my website, Woman of Proverbs. I always say plan your day with God with our 2023 planner and prayer journey. It's planner and prayer journal. It's 84 pages, where you can plan your life. We plan our life as far as our business and what we're going to do with the day, but let's plan our life with God. It is 84 pages of inspiration and things where you can plan your day with God, so that way that whatever you do, you can incorporate God in your business, in your life. So make sure you go to www.womanofproverbs.com. You can also get it at womanofproverbscoaching.com, where you can actually purchase the planner. And I will see you guys. This is my birthday weekend, so excited.
Happy birthday.
I still get excited over my birthday, honey. Let me tell you something. I feel like I look at where I have come from all these years, and I look at where I am. I'm so excited to be turning 49 and
Nice.
feeling good, you know.
Good.
And despite of everything that I've gone through, I am still here to talk about it, and I am excited to celebrate it on Sunday. So yeah, I'm gonna be celebrating at St. James Live on Butner Road in Atlanta. So I'm excited to all of my friends and that are gonna be there to support me at my birthday celebration. So
Nice.
on that note, I will see you guys on Sunday for Dinner with the Coaches with my amazing co-host and partner, Thomas Taylor III. I'll see you on Sunday. Have an amazing Valentine weekend. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Yes.
I know it's Super Bowl weekend and you guys are going to be Super Bowling it up, but make sure you stay safe. Make sure that you watch your surroundings. Make sure you in these Super Bowl parties. Make sure you watch what you eat and what you drink. Cause people crazy nowadays. They'll be right there under you and be putting stuff in your food and drink. So be careful. Make sure that you discern the crowd that you're with. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday. I did a broadcast a couple of months ago, and I was saying how if you don't operate in your season, you're useless. So, and I gave the example of the fig tree, right? And I said that how Jesus cursed the fig tree because it was time.
IBG Careers is looking for customer service representatives needed to service their customers from home. If you're interested, please apply at www.
I've done some terrible things in my life.
Some of them I chose to do.
And I own these choices.
But others, I just feel like I was swept up in a series
of circumstances that didn't involve my will.
They just sort of happened to me.
I've become the culmination of those choices and circumstances.
So I guess I just need to say it.
I really
need some help.
Hi, I'm Nadira Lewis, author, life, and business coach, and founder of the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs Wisdom Academy. I help women take their life experiences and turn them into life lessons. I also believe that just like hurt people, transform people can transform people too. Make sure you book a call with me at www.womanofproverbscoaching.com, and I'll see you on the other side of victory.